Rachael Ray. She's just like us, but we love her even more when she cooks up some bloopers. Kitchen fires to blender malfunctions and severed fingers, these are the greatest fails on The Rachael Ray Show. One of the most memorable kitchen fails on The Rachael Ray Show was the time she started a fire. And true to form, she handled it with a smile and calm, camera-ready finesse. Ray developed a habit of wrapping dish towels around her metal skillet handles to make them cooler to the touch. But when she left the skillet on the stove with a towel-wrapped handle, she quickly realized that the towel was on fire.
Note to self, don't put your kitchen towel too close to the stove.
The audience erupted into laughter and applause at the whole situation, as Ray put the fire out with water in the sink and laughed it off.
I said it was one hot show. We started with LL Cool J, and I set the kitchen on fire!
Perhaps it's not at all related, but the cookware Ray now sells and uses on her show features cool silicone handles. We have a hunch this little incident may be one reason why. It appears that the host of The Rachael Ray Show isn't the only person who starts fires in her kitchen. Regis once accidentally did it as well. There was a time when Ray's good friend Philbin appeared as a guest star once a month on her show, and he made himself fairly comfortable in the kitchen while filming a total of 38 episodes for the series. But rather than cooking off the top of his head like Ray appears to do, Philbin liked to keep a paper version of the recipe on hand, and that's exactly what got the legendary TV personality into trouble. Philbin accidentally set his recipe on fire, as it rested on the countertop with the paper touching the gas stove burner. When he lit the flame to start heating the oil for his fried dish, the paper quickly caught fire.
Oh, he just set it on fire! I can't read it now!
Of course, the whole moment was pure comedy gold, with Philbin hamming it up for the audience.
Let me start this over. There's too much heckling here, too much heckling.
Even better, even the home viewing audience could see that part of the recipe sheet was missing specific measurements, which were completely lost in the tiny fire. Anyone who has ever used a food processor knows that it can be a little fiddly to handle, and Ray famously had trouble getting the machine to work on the show. The appliances have a few safety features to prevent messy kitchen mishaps, but they definitely got in the way during one of her cooking segments. As Ray was trying to start her food processor to make dip on the show, she first couldn't get the lid to fit. Then she put the lid on backward.
It's so embarrassing to be in public when this happens. It's not even working.
Still attempting to get the lid to fit, she claimed nothing else could happen until the situation got fixed. Finally, Sarah came out from backstage to save the day.
Help! Please? For real? Go away!
Adding ingredients to a bowl while mixing is tricky, especially if you're using a stand mixer. Usually, Ray makes this process seem simple. As long as you have all your ingredients at the ready, everything should run smoothly. Of course, you have to pay attention to what you're throwing in the bowl. During one episode, Ray took turns with her guest, adding baking ingredients into the mixer's bowl while it was running. But when Ray added in the baking powder, she happened to throw the whole dish into the mixer too. Luckily, it didn't break. Once Ray realized what happened, her guest joked,
So don't do that at home.
The audience ate it up. Ray joked that a quote, professional cooking show would edit that kind of thing out of the final episode.
They are laughing their butts off in my controller, and that will become the promo for this show.
Since Ray's show is set up in a talk show format, she delves into a variety of topics that center around food and lifestyle. And during one episode, she tried out a hack that was supposed to help stretch out tight shoes, using water. But it did not turn out as planned. The trick is that you pour 2 cups of water into a zipper-lock bag and then place it into the shoe before freezing it. As the water freezes and expands, it's supposed to help stretch out the shoe. But Ray didn't fully zip the zipper on the baggie.
Before you try this hack at home, I would strongly suggest waterproofing your shoe.
Luckily, there was a pre-frozen shoe waiting in the freezer. But as she unsuccessfully attempted to remove the ice from that shoe, she made a decision.
Wow. I suck at this hack.
Most of us have engaged in a battle with a roll of plastic wrap or aluminum foil, but most of us haven't had to do it on national TV, like Rachael Ray hilariously did.
Oh my God, I hate it when the foil does not want to cooperate.
It wasn't long before Ray was talking directly to the foil.
I don't like you. I am gonna win.
Finally, she got the upper hand and freed a sheet of foil from the roll.
You know, I could put a sheet pan on top of it, but I wanted to teach that foil a lesson.
We all like to think that people who bake professionally are immune to burning or otherwise ruining their food. But Ray and her guests prove that it can happen to anyone. All it takes is one distraction, and the next thing you know, the apps are smoldering. When Clint and Kelly stopped by the show, Ray and her guests were all calmly sitting around talking at the table when Ray alerted Kelly to something burning in the oven, just as she was going to commercial. After Kelly tried to grab the pan with a flimsy paper towel, everyone rushed to his aid in the kitchen.
Stop that, you're gonna burn yourself!
Ray took control of the situation, taking the pan out of the oven and finally resting it on the stovetop in defeat. Even if you're Rachael Ray, there's not much you can do with burnt appetizers. Gravity can easily become the star of the show on a live cooking series, especially when it comes to culinary utensils. And when Ray dropped a whisk on the floor, it quickly turned into whiskey business.
8 drawers of utensils, but only 1 whisk, apparently.
After rummaging around her set kitchen for a bit, she yelled backstage.
Yep, no more whisks. Can I have another whisk?
Finally, Kim appeared from backstage to save the day and picked up the dirty whisk while bringing Ray a clean one.
Don't you have Kim at your house?
Rachael Ray was once asked during a Q&A session if she had ever experienced any type of accident while she was cooking. Her response?
Anyone who works in a kitchen for in my case 40 years, of course, you cut yourself, you burn yourself.
However, some injuries are a little more intense than others, and Ray discussed her first accidental self-wounding incident on Food Network.
I wasn't even chopping, I was just talking with my hands and sliced the tip of this finger off.
Luckily, it was just a fingertip and nothing more serious. She then went on to explain that kitchen injuries are a given, and that it's just par for the course when you're handling knives all day. Of course, maybe it's a little more common when you're as comfortable in the kitchen as Ray is, at cooking, while holding a conversation.
It's just one of the laws of averages when you work around flames and sharp objects your whole life.
The Rachael Ray Show is full of moments that showcase Ray not being able to get countertop appliances to do what they're supposed to do. And considering that time is of the essence during a show taping, she only has a short window to put together recipes while entertaining her guests and her audience.
Turn our dough on, which might work better if I plugged it in.
Ray often gets into small battles with fiddly machines like blenders and food processors. She sometimes can't get her food processor to work for more than a few microseconds at a time, or even at all. It's especially hilarious when she gets someone from backstage to fix a machine for her. It works for a brief moment, but when they walk away, the machine suddenly doesn't work again.
It hates me!
There was also the moment where all the blender's entire contents spewed all over the kitchen when she couldn't get the lid on. Still, the pesto had to be tasted, even if she and Sunny Anderson ate it off each other.
You know the old adage, it ain't a party till you puke pesto.
We watched the Rachael Ray Show to see her guests spill the tea, but during one episode, it was Ray doing all of the spilling of someone else's coffee. As she tapped her guest, Caleb Wise, on the elbow while he was still holding onto his mug, coffee went everywhere.
This is bedlam here.
Of course, Ray got up to handle the mess, while the cameras continued to roll.
Hold, please. I'll go get the towel. You two talk amongst yourselves.
Philbin and Wise kept up the conversation as Ray attempted to clean up without disturbing the scene. But can anyone really ignore Ray on her own show? Not likely. When it comes to her biggest kitchen fails on set, we can't take our eyes off of Rachael Ray.